Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It's so greatly appreciated. Truly, truly is. Before we get started, let me give you my usual disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes only. Please do not take what I say as fact. Please always do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Next, if you have not liked, subscribed, or commented yet, please consider doing so. It really helps me out and I would really, really appreciate it. It only takes a couple seconds. Okay, so Lindy Sue Biechler. In 1975, 19-year-old newlywed Lindy Sue Biechler was living in Lancaster, Pennsylvania with her husband, Phil. December 5th, 1975, Lindy spent the day tying large satin ribbons on poinsettia plants at the flower shop that she worked at. After her shift was over at about 5:15 p.m., she stopped by her husband's work to pick up his paycheck. From there, she stops and cashes his check, and then she stops at John Herr's Village Market for some groceries, and then finally she heads home. Between 6:30 and 7 o'clock, a man enters the apartment while Lindy is putting away the groceries. There's no sign of forced entry, but this was also in the 70s and people rarely locked their doors back then. There are also theories that the person followed Lindy as she walked inside, or that right after she walked inside, the person knocked on the door and then forced their way in. Lindy would be found on the floor of her living room by her aunt and uncle who had stopped by to exchange recipes with her. When they entered, they found blood splattered all over the walls and floors, a lamp that had fallen from an end table. The groceries she had just bought were still out on the table, and a male size 10 footprint in the blood in the kitchen. Lindy had been 11 times, mostly to the chest, neck, and abdomen by her own knife. And when she was found, the knife was sticking out of her neck. Because the knife had a tea towel wrapped around it, no fingerprints were found on it. Her husband was ruled out fairly quickly as a suspect. Family and friends did recall Lindy telling them that she believed somebody was watching her and following her in the weeks leading up to her death. Investigators also believe that the two knew each other. By December 10th of 1975, police had interviewed 100 people, but it was all dead ends. December 16th, 1975, police decided to step up their game and add additional state police to try and help solve the case. By February 7th of 1976, officers have interviewed 250 to 300 people. They're all dead ends. March 5th, 1976, 43-year-old Mary Shinzing of Columbia is to death in her home. Police compared the two crime scenes to see if they could possibly be done by the same person, but later determined that they were not. March 16th, 1976, 33-year-old Kenneth Dale Arndt of Columbia was arrested and charged with the Mary. December 26th, 1976. As if this family has not been through enough already, they discover that somebody has defaced Lindy's tombstone with red spray paint. Could it just be some dumb kids playing a sick joke, yes, but because no other graves were touched, it is believed that the vandalism was done by the perpetrator. But police have never gotten answers to that, and they probably never will. At this point, they're never going to. January 5th, 1977, Manor Township Police receive an anonymous letter marked urgent. It appears to police that the letter was written by two separate people, and a friend of the. The letter reads, "Hi, Sheila," who is the police chief. "Just eats up your heart knowing you haven't caught me yet. Still around Lindy's marker on her grave. Just turned me on like she did, and the way she looked all bloody, like the paint on her marker. The scratch and nick marks represent the knife stabs. The knife stabs. Count them. You wondered if the guy at the gas station in Mountville were related to Biechler's murder. Forget it, man, no way. I'll tell you what, Chief Pig. You print this letter in the paper along with a picture in Friday night's Lancaster paper and Saturday morning's paper, and I might confess when I get off my trip. You see, the world owes me a living. Maybe I give you a few hints who I am. Got busted once for a few years back. Live in West End of Lancaster suburbs. I am 5 foot 10 inches tall, 205 pounds fat and beautiful. And capable of, again, without knowing it. December 5th, 1975 was under the stupor of amphetamines, like right now. Well-educated man in the community, single, good job, but God, please, Chief, help me. I am losing my mind. Help me before again. The headaches kill me every time it aches. The drugs only calm it temporarily. Will God forgive me? Please print this, Chief, in the paper so I know you got it. Then I write you again. God, I need a priest. What have I done? Please help me, please. Help me, please. P.S. Chief Sheila, my friend has confessed to the killing of Lindy Sue Biechler. As God is my witness, do as he asks. Print this letter on the front page. I am not aware of his intentions right now. But contemplating is not his intentions. He is mentally sick. When the letter appears, then he will turn himself in. He described the relationship he and Lindy had before he only realizes it now. When you're not responsible for your actions. You are responsible for your actions. Please, he is asleep now. That's why I finished the letter. All I can tell you, my friend frequents Manor Shopping Center in the evenings and the fields around it. Mostly weeknights. He will contact you very soon. And oh, when he does, please bring a Catholic priest to the police station. Janice Crum. Okay. October 30th, 1982. Police consider questioning a man named Gerald Eugene Stano, who was arrested in April and has claimed responsibility for at least 37 women. He became a person of interest when officers learned that his father was living near Lindy at the time of the murder. Police put out his picture, but nobody was able to say where he was. January 18th, 1984. It's reported that the district attorney's office paid $2,000 for two separate psychics to evaluate Lindy's case. They concluded that the had dark or olive skin, brown hair, brown eyes, and a tattoo on his arm. Okay. December 6th, 2000, police finally decide to release the anonymous letter to the public. A behavioral specialist with the FBI doesn't believe that was the one who wrote the letter. They rather concluded that the letter was written by a person with an indirect or secondary role. June 16th, 2006. 31 years after Lindy's murder, a group of 50 crime experts get together to attempt to solve Lindy's case. December 3rd, 2007. Lindy's half-brother Mike Little puts up a billboard asking for any tips that will help solve his sister's case. June 26, 2018. Police charge 49-year-old Raymond Rowe with the R word and of 25-year-old school teacher Christy Mirak. July 16th, 2018. Lindy's husband wonders if the same technology that was used to solve Christy's case could be used to solve Lindy's. July 18th, 2022. 47 years after her death, Lancaster County District Attorney's Office announces that 68-year-old David Sinopoli has been charged with the of Lindy. So who is David Sinopoli, right? Okay. David Vincent Sinopoli was a resident of Lancaster County. In 1974, David and his wife Marina lived in the same apartment complex as Lindy and Phil. He is of Italian descent, and all his grandparents migrated from Gasparina, Italy, before setting up roots in Lancaster. I say that because it will come into play later. David Sinopoli worked at Sissy's Hair Boutique, which was owned and operated by his wife, Marina, along with being a color press operator. July 13th, 2003. David was the only one working at the salon when he decided to spy on a woman who was naked in a tanning room. In 2004, he pled guilty to invasion of privacy and disorderly conduct. The judge sentenced him to 1 year of probation for the crime. DNA pulled from the semen in Lindy's underwear was submitted into a national law enforcement database in 1997, but it didn't yield any matches. In 2019, the Lancaster County District Attorney's Office teamed up with the Manor Police Department to hire Paraben Nanolabs to create a composite sketch of the person responsible based on DNA evidence. It's pretty cool, right? When you think about that. In December of 2020, Paraben Nanolabs chief genetic genealogist started investigating the case and found a very clear migration pattern from Gasparina to Lancaster. She determined that the person associated with the DNA had roots in Gasparina, which is a small village in Calabria. If you remember, all 4 of Sinopoli's grandparents migrated from Gasparina to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. From there, they zeroed in on the very few people living in Lancaster at the time that were the right age, gender, and had the right family tree.
Decades of tireless work, investigators took DNA that previously led nowhere to a lab in 2019. Then, like something out of a television crime drama, scientists were able to pinpoint the suspect's ancestry to the small town of Gasparina in southern Italy and create a composite of who they were looking for.
The investigators released a composite rendering of the suspect in this case. In addition to the composite, Paraben's report would have included information on the suspect's skin tone, eye color, hair color, geographical ancestry, and freckling.
In this small Pennsylvania community, they were able to narrow the suspect list by family history.
After months of this type of research, one individual was identified who I believed was an especially compelling candidate to possibly be the suspect.
Authorities say once they had a name, They began surveillance on Sinopoli for months. In February, investigators following Sinopoli grabbed a coffee cup he had thrown in the garbage at the Philadelphia International Airport and matched the DNA to the one found on Biechler's clothing. Legal experts say not uncommon in a case where the stakes are this high.
That's crazy. Investigators began to surveil Sinopoli. It would take months, but on February 11th, 2022, they were finally able to grab a coffee cup that Sinopoli had discarded in the Philadelphia International Airport's trash. The DNA obtained from the cup matched the DNA that was found on Libby's underwear, and Sinopoli was ultimately arrested. He has yet to be sentenced, and there's no clear motive as to why he did this. If I had to guess, I would say that he's most likely going to die in prison. He better die in prison. He better die in prison. But as more comes out, I'll let you know. All right, guys, if you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so very much. If you have not liked, subscribed, or commented yet, please do so. If you have any suggestions, please email me, harding527@yahoo.com. And until next time, stay safe out there. I love you guys.